Hello, 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 and welcome. I am super excited to be here on another Tech Talk Tuesday. For those of you who are joining for the first time, my name is Vonda Page, and I am so excited to be here today. I am the founder and chief of Radical Change LLC, the Leadership Learning Collective, and we are here for what I like to call a weekday forum. And during these weekday forums, we explore three main areas. On Tuesday is Tech Talk. On Wednesday is Workplace Wise. And on Thursdays, it's Thought Works. And in Tech Talk, we get down. And I mean, we really talk about technology from the standpoint of this is not your everyday average conversation. And what I did decide to do is put these tech talks up as a bonus podcast inside of the Radical Change Leadership podcast. So, the Radical Change Leadership podcast is my brand new podcast that was released this week. And it joins my first podcast, which is called Managing My Own Radical Change. And both are available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and the usual places. There are a couple places that do not um, take podcasts right now that used to, like back in the day, that used to be all these other ones. But it's on all the main places. And at the very least, you could very easily go to Radical Change LLC.my.canva.site, and you could get the podcast right there, y'all. Not only can you get the Tech Talk Tuesday for the last 2 weeks, but if you go to the Managing My Own Radical Change, you get the new series, the special series that is all about my journey learning that I have been a victim of narcissistic abuse and that I've been in recovery for a long, long, long time. Even during the process where I was actually in these relationships, I was also in the process of healing at the same time. And so, today's topic of Tech Talk or inside of Tech Talk is going to also touch on narcissistic abuse, but it is going to do so from the standpoint of technology. And I am super excited for today's conversation, which is all about narcissism and narcissists and their technology utilization. So I'm going to pull up some slides because I did get the chance to load them on my phone. And the first uh, thing that I want to pull up here is I want to make sure that every single person knows about the Leaders Learn Radical Change or the Radical Change app, the platform. This platform is a unified communications as service platform. What is unified communications as service? That means it is a full on communications platform that allows all the features. So, for example, right, you can input text, right? Um, you can input um, images. You can whiteboard. You can um, highlight or circle or just point to something on here, right? You can do all sorts of things, and I want you to think about like being able to use this platform to take the place of all the things that you may be using now. If you're using Zoom, plus you're using text messaging on your phone, plus you're using FaceTime, plus you're using Slack for messaging, and plus you're using this and that. With my app, with Leaders Learn Radical Change, I basically do everything in one place. I have all communications take place in the app. And it makes everything easy because what I can do is at any point in time, I can record and don't have to really worry about oh, I didn't have a pen, or oh, what is it that we talked about? What did we agree about? And then I can send it to the person with whom I was meeting. And so that's one of the really good features. I wanted to mention that because when you are talking about the age of social media and the age of more and more diabolical narcissists that are, utilizing social media to, you know, snare in people, I wanted to make sure that you recognize the importance of having your own platform. Having your own platform, especially if you are trying to curate a community, especially if you are a coach or a consultant or a content creator, and especially if you are a service paraprofessional that likes to do one-on-one small group sessions. It is imperative that you have your own app, and I can help you get started in as little as $350. So just reach out to me when you want to have more conversation about it. I have a special for September. You get a free 15-minute consultation as long as you give me a review for one of my podcasts. So with that, hey, let's get it going on, y'all. Today we are going to be talking about narcissists and technology. We're going to be talking about narcissists and technology. And I'm going to tell you, for me, there are and there were so many, and I mean so many connections to narcissism and technology. And one of the main connections to narcissism and technology is when you think about the fact that we have all these different platforms that all do the same thing. We have a whole bunch of different platforms that all do the same thing. Now, once Google came out, right, and they said, okay, we making this whole suite that does all this stuff, right? And then all these other companies started doing the same exact thing and trying to fool people and make people think that they can do something different. When at the end of the day, Google, Zoom, whomever, they all do the same thing. They all do the same thing. And the thing that they all do that is the same, right, is take your money for stuff that you could do on your own and or divert your attention into so many different areas that you fail to see that you have redundancy when it comes to the technology that you do have. So that's the one thing. And that's one of the reasons that if you have your own business, even if you are a gig worker doing your own thing on the side, it's one of the reasons that you want to have an app of your own so that you are not only able to maintain the privacy, integrity, uh, and efficiency for yourself, but you are able to be less reliant on the master's tools. So when Google goes out, you still going to be able to do your what you need to do. If Apple has a problem, or AT&T has a problem, or Verizon has a problem, you still have an app that you could even access via the web. So I wanted to put that out there for you. But the other thing is, when I think about narcissism and the intersection of narcissism and technology, it's something that needs our attention. Not only because of, all of this redundancy of software, not only for all of the scams, not only for all of the theft of intellectual property, but because narcissism is rampant online in social media, and narcissism is the societal construct that we also view through the social media lens in our interaction with social media. So today I want to talk about a couple of things, and then we're going to make it a day. But the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about narcissism and narcissists and the use of technology. So I did some research, and just let me kind of back up a little bit. The way I kind of got on this topic of narcissism was really about really uncovering a history and pattern in my life of narcissistic abuse relationships, but I didn't have the language for it. I didn't realize that that is what it was because I wasn't putting together societal narcissism. I wasn't putting that together with 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 relational narcissism. Like I wasn't putting it together with how I also think about the world. I wasn't putting it together. And once I started putting together this history of these relationships and looking at my 2 year threshold of how come it is that after 2 years I literally can't take people's bullshit no more. It's like I could take it for 3 months, 6 months. I could even take it for 9 months, but I cannot take people's bullshit after 2 years. And I usually let the person know starting around, 12, 13 months. Like, look, I usually don't keep relationships around no matter what kind they are. They could be platonic or intimate. I don't keep them around more than 2 years because 2 years, people's real colors come out. And what I also realized, it's not people's colors coming out, it's my threshold and my tolerance because I attract narcissists. I attract narcissists. I grew up in a narcissistic home with a narcissistic mother and a narcissistic stepfather. And that narcissistic abuse continued until 2018 when my mom did her final discard of me. But then she popped back. She popped back in 2023. And then I told her, sorry, Charlie, I'm not interested. And then that's been that. So I basically was a person who went through um, 50 years of 45 years of narcissistic abuse. I survived. And during that time, not only did my mother abuse me narcissistically, but I had been in two marriages, three long-term relationships, and four friendships with women, and three bosses that were horribly narcissistic and damaging to me. Damaging to me. And now that I have language for it, I know what it's called. Now that I understand all the symptoms, now I know it wasn't my fault. Now I know it's nothing I could have did about it. Now I know that like narcissists, you can't change them or fix them. Now I know all of the things. I'm taking what I learned and I'm sharing it with you. And so today we're going to talk about narcissists and technology. And the first thing I want to talk about, y'all, well, actually, let me back up. I want to talk about narcissistic personality disorder, right? Narcissistic personality disorder, you need to look that up. There are 9 traits of narcissistic personality disorder. And they say that if people have 5 or 6 of them, then they definitely have narcissistic personality disorder. You may see 1 or 2 traits in people, but normally, if you're talking about a narcissist, you will see 5, 6, 7, 8, or maybe even all 9 of these traits in the people, and you will see them. And when you listen to people's stories and people talk about narcissists, and you see what people say about narcissists, you will it'll start to make sense to you. It will start to make sense to you what these things what the different personality traits and what it looks like. And so when you think about narcissistic personality and you think about it in the digital age, right, there's a bunch of research out there, but I want to talk very specifically about the things that I experienced as a result of relationships in social media from narcissists and narcissistic abuse. But I want to give it to you in terms of how the research talks about it. And this is research from 2023 and forward. So I invite you to Google and check it out. That is pretty good. That is a lemon lime drink. I'm not gonna talk about it because I'm not gonna advertise to nobody. But mm, okay. Oh, it's made in California. But it's good. Okay. So first and foremost, narcissists and technology. So there's some studies that show that social media platforms can easily amplify narcissistic traits. Social media easily amplifies narcissistic traits. And when you think about, right, the narcissistic traits, people with narcissistic personality disorder, they use social media to bolster their own self-image, gain validation. So let's talk about these behaviors that are used by narcissists on social media. Number one, love bombing. Narcissists may use, they might use social media to really give their targets a showering of overly excessive affection, a whole bunch of attention, and especially when they first meet the person. So what does that look like? That look like somebody agreeing with every post. Every post you post them, they like, yeah, girl, uh-huh, right, or whatever, right? Every time you're online, they getting online and they agreeing with you, blah blah blah, right? It looks like very early on they just love you and they just think the world of you. And it's kind of weird because you'll be like to yourself, if you pay attention, now you will, but you'll kind of feel like, this feels weird. I don't even know this person, or whatever, whatever. But they will start to like shower you with all this attention, talk about you so great, introducing you to their little social media circle and doing all these things. And this is what love bombing looks like on social media. Okay, somebody you don't know all of a sudden in your comments, in your shit, and da 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 da. And here's the thing: let's talk about, like, love bombing is not just like something that people do individually. It's not just like, oh, this person love bombs you. Oh, no, love bombing is a tool of narcissism. Love bombing is a tool of narcissism. It is what they do because they are putting all the attention on you to shower you with all this attention, shower you with all this affection, to make you feel like they think you are so special. They think you are so amazing, and they don't even fucking know you. Okay. So, love bombing, pay attention to how they can do that. So, the question: when is the last time somebody love bombed you on social media? When is the last time somebody said to you, um, you know, hey, and was just like all in your business and all, cheering you on and all just, doing the things? When was the last time? Okay? That person don't even know you and they all in your inbox. They all in your mustard, trying to catch up. For what reason? All right. Next one. Mirroring. Narcissists often mirror their target's interests and values to gain their trust and create a sense of closeness. Oh my God, this happened to me. I was out there in them social media streets talking about something that people was not trying to hear because how dare me as a black woman be out here speaking about black women's equal pay? How dare me as a black woman be out here talking about, black women deserve right to make as much as everybody else? How dare I do that, right? And speak up, right? And so there was a couple of people that was like, yeah, you right, amen corner, but then it wasn't really nobody. But then, man, one person came out of nowhere, and guess what? That was the mirror. That was the mirror. That was the mirror. And then love bombing started right after that. And mirroring is really a way to get people's trust, right? Because if you start agreeing with somebody and you start nodding and you mirror them, in just like in real life, if somebody's mirroring your body language, like I noticed when me and my one friend, when we go out, and this is my girl, we've been friends like 8 years, right? When we go out, we be mirroring each other the whole time, like we be in each other's face. We'll have our legs crossed opposite, like looking at each other. We'll have our arms the same way, and then we'll be like in each other's face. We be mirroring each other, like. And I don't I know that I'm not doing it on purpose, but we're doing it, and I've noticed it because I'm like, we look alike, but we having a good time. And same thing, if I'm with my best friend that I knew since I was 13, it's the same thing. Like we're mirroring each other. Like we are like, doing the same thing. But how does that happen when you don't know a person? Right? Well, if they watch you, and then they mirror your interests and your values. So they start talking about you. They start talking about the things that you are talking about, and they start using your language so that they are mirroring you, right? That so that they are able to um get you to feel comfortable, because it's like, okay, well, if this person's talking the same thing I'm talking about, right? Um then they doing it, okay? Now, I want to go the next one, and I want to talk about um future faking. So future faking is another tactic and another tool that they use, right? And future faking is what somebody uses to idealize something that's never gonna happen, but it's basically to keep you invested. So after somebody love bombs you, or while between the mirroring and the love bombing, right? They'll also start future faking, say, one day we should do this together. One day we should do such and such thing. One day we should do such and such thing. You know what? One day we should do such a thing. We should do such. They start doing that, and then they start saying, you know what? Well, I'm going to fly to your town, and I'm gonna do blah 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 blah. But you know what? I'm gonna take you out to dinner. But you know what? I'm gonna buy you that blah blah blah. But you know what? I'm gonna pay for that tattoo for you. You know what? I'm whatever it is, they start promising you something to keep you emotionally invested, right? And stringing you along, stringing you along, future faking. It could be about anything. It could be about anything, right? It could be about they waiting on some big something, and they gonna share it with you or whatever. They lying. They ain't waiting on shit. They ain't waiting on shit. They future faking. Oh my goodness. And then I'm gonna take it to the next one, manipulating. Okay, narcissists, they use social media to manipulate different perceptions, especially through the way that they do their content. So I want you to think about people who, do all this luxury content. I want you to think about people who do all this beauty and fashion and makeup content. I want you to really think about, like, are people really living these lives in America, where they have so many people, they have waiting list to do DoorDash and Grubhub and Uber and Instacart. They have a waiting list. Why? Because there's that many people ready and willing to drive their own cars to deliver shit to other people. We don't have a really good prospect in terms of the way we think about our economy as the 99%. Even if we say as the 95%, let's say the 95%, because there's 4% of people in America that's doing really good, and there's 1% that's doing amazing. But the 1% is 1/100th of the 1% that's doing great. That's the 1/100th. That's the 3,400 people that's running everything. That's not just the regular people that's doing good in life. So the thing is, right, is that manipulation happens through social media, because it can. Because people can put up any damn image they want. They can put up any image they want. And they can pretend that they got their shit all together, and they shit is funkier than, I don't even know what to tell you. They can pretend. They can pretend. And let's take it to stalking, right? So not only, right, can the love bombing happen and the mirroring happen and the future faking, which is manipulation, but then stalking. Stalking is where they really look at your social media to get personal information and to track you. And the stalking can also lead to those other harmful things that somebody could do, right? Like share your information and all of that kind of stuff. So the thing is that narcissists are dangerous. Narcissists are dangerous. And because they are dangerous, it's up to you to keep yourself safe. It's up to you to keep yourself safe. Um I want y'all to look up the studies published in Personality and Individual Differences. And I want you to look up that study, and I want you to look up social, psychological, and personality science 2023. And I want to talk to you about these two things. So, um, the research has said two things. Number one, self presentation and validation. That people with high narcissism, they use social media to enhance their self presentation and to seek constant validation. So, and I'm not saying every person that has a lot of followers is a narcissist. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that if you are watching and you are interacting with people online who have a high like content, right? High likes and high comments. And those comments are for superficial things, like telling a person that they're pretty, telling a person that they look good, telling a person they handsome, they love their abs, and over, and that's all the content. When you are looking at people's content and all the content is thirst trappy, right? Or all the content is sexy, right? And every time the person is on camera, they got, you know, some sort of sex appeal happening or whatever. Yeah, it's the brand, but that brand um is for validation. That brand is because they want somebody to tell them that they look good. And I didn't realize, because I have been studying. I've told people this before, and when you check out managing my own radical change podcast, you'll hear about it. But I told people before that when I first started really studying narcissism, I was studying narcissism in the context of societal narcissism and whiteness and white supremacy and how it plays itself out in the context of you know, privilege and control and power. And it wasn't until over the last, I would say, the beginning half, well, yeah, I would say when I wrote that book, Decenter White Women, which you can get from my website, when I wrote that book, I knew that the issue was larger than white women, but I also knew that there were so many black women like myself that was out here trying to do work where we are working with white women to try to get them to heal. And then I realized, oh shit, I'm not even doing enough work to heal myself, because if so, I still wouldn't be getting entrapped in these relationships. And then what I realized was that it wasn't just because the women were white, it was because of narcissism. And I, as a lifelong person who has been in narcissistic abusive relationships, I am it's like me and these relationships are meant to be for some reason, right? I have a history of them, and so it's easy for me to get in them and for them to feel normal, especially when I didn't have the language, especially when I didn't really have the context of narcissism from a standpoint of what does that actually like look like in the real world. Like, I didn't understand it, and now that I do, I cannot get enough of figuring this thing out. I cannot get enough of listening to experts and listening to people who've gone through it, and listening to narcissistic people who are self-aware, and the narcissistic people who are sharing, yeah, I used to do this, and yeah, this is what I do, and this is how I think. I'm learning so much from it, and I'm taking what I'm learning, and I'm able to move that into, um, you know, me becoming the best version of me being the most healed version of me being, the me that is like just super at peace, and super grateful for everything that I'm learning and for everything that I'm experiencing. And so, when it comes to really this conversation around you know identifying and protecting ourselves against narcissism, I want to talk about it specifically in technology and online, right? So, the first thing, right, I want to talk about what they talk about is that there's ways to identify it. So there's two things, and I have to agree wholeheartedly because of my situation, right? My experience. When a narcissist targets you, it's going to manifest in several ways, but these two things are excessive attention, and it's a bunch of flattery and compliments. They're not gonna know you, but they're gonna be, yeah, they're gonna be in your corner, like whatever, and compliments. And then is they number two is overstepping boundaries, trying to get a relationship with you quickly. So trying to get your cell phone number fast so that they can start talking to you right away. Those are the two things. So I want you to look out for that. If you get in a relationship with somebody and they all of a sudden they want your number, no, look out for that. What for? Okay. Now, how do you maintain some safety? Number one, keep private. Don't give your information to nobody. Keep all your settings high. And again, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to recommend that you get your own app. And if you want to test out how to do it, you want to download the Radical Change app and just reach out for me. But you want to maintain privacy and maintain your personal stuff as much as possible. That's the first thing you want to do. The second thing you want to do is be the hell skeptical. Be the hell skeptical. Be skeptical. Who are these people? If somebody is all of a sudden that, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, who are you? Who is this? It's one thing somebody in your comments, and I know that there's all these social media strategies that tell people, oh, this is how you build your platform. You go in people's section and comment and do this and do that. No, be skeptical. Scrutinize anything that seems overly flattering or that seems quick. Um, Limit your interaction. If you think that somebody is a narc, you think they're a narcissist, limit your interaction. Limit your damn interaction. Step away, step away, step away, step away, become gray. Limit your interaction. Don't engage in anything personal. They start asking you, so what you do today, girl? You know what? I didn't really get much done. I basically did some housework. Hey, dude, how was work? How was the meeting with your boss? Oh, you know what? Yeah, those meetings got canceled, and I basically got put on a really boring project. Oh, that's it. Um, so what happened when you with you and your girlfriend? I know y'all was having an argument. Oh no, everything's fine. We are all good. I think it was just one of those things. You know, that's it. Start not saying shit, right? And then that fourth thing is get some help. If you feel like you're being targeted or manipulated, get some help. Listen, there are so many, so many coaches out here, including myself, who are in recovery from narcissistic abuse, who have survived narcissistic abuse, who know about the traits, who know how to get out of it, who know how to deal with it. Listen, I have been surviving narcissism for about 45 years. It started when I was 5, and it lasted basically until I was almost 50. And I hate to say I'm an expert in it, but I am, because of my mom, because of my stepfather, because of my grandfather, because of my aunts, because of my cousin, because of so many people in my life, personally, professionally, throughout, and now I know what it is. And so I am here to support you. And when you're ready for some support and you want some help in navigating the escape from your current narcissistic abusive relationship, you want some support in the recovery, all you got to do is download the Leaders on Radical Change app. Do that. Download that app. And reach out to me, and we can take it from there. If you do a review of either podcast or the app in September, you get a free 15-minute consultation to talk about anything that you want. I will send you the assessments ahead of time to get some information. That way we can make the most efficient time of the time together. So that is what it is, y'all. That is what it is. When it comes to technology and narcissism, there is a connection. There is a connection. And it is up to us. It behooves us. It behooves us to recognize that connection, but more than anything, right? Focus on self preservation and self prioritization and ensure that we know about these tools of narcissism, including love bombing and mirroring and future faking and manipulation and stalking, right? Because that's what they do online. And so not only can you maintain your own safety by maintaining your privacy, being very, very overly scrutinizing messages and changes in communication, keeping your interactions to a minimum, and sussing out support for yourself if you feeling like you need it. Those things are critical. And so I want to say that on Technology Tuesday, not only do we want to make sure that we are utilizing technology to our own benefit, to our own well-being, but we want to also make sure that those people who are utilizing technology for manipulation and stalking and all of those things, that we are less opportunity for them. We want to be less opportunity for them. So be smart, be savvy, be safe. And I'll see y'all next time.